We are we are live. All right, it's just Paul and I so far to start. Jason will be with us very shortly, and hopefully sooner than later. We're here to talk about Wisconsin football. But first, Paul, while we're waiting, did you get a chance to watch that thrilling Vikings Bills game yesterday?
I caught the end of it. I tuned in. It was actually at the point where you had messaged and said that uh, the Vikings just blew it at the 1 yard line. A few seconds later, they're in the end zone with a touchdown, and we were asking ourselves, was this the point to use the Kirk Ferentz strategy of just taking the safety?
Right. They've been better off. They would have won the game.
Yeah.
It's just but the spectacular catches this Jefferson guy made to get them to the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
And actually they got stopped short at the inch line two times trying to get in. And I swear to God that they had made it the second time, but the official said no. So they set that up, and I forgot that they were taking the ball at the inch line there. What a perfect opportunity! How often does a team that just blew trying to take the lead actually get an opportunity to win again?
Right.
Win the ball when they fumble the ball in the end zone and you fall on top of it.
Well, and then the fact that with like 20 seconds left, the Bills got the football, and they marched right down the field and got the field goal to send it to overtime, like a hot knife through butter. It was an incredible sequence of less than a minute of football.
It was, and how about? Vikings went down and kicked the field goal for the lead, and then the Bills went down and they step in and have the interception in the end zone to end the Bills' quest for a victory. Good morning, Jason.
Jason, Coach.
You were right. I was going to guess you wouldn't be here for a while yet. If you had the experiences I have going to doctor's appointments, your appointment time don't mean nothing.
This ain't California. You have a time, you get in. You don't get there by that time, they go to the next one.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, you know what time it is? It's jammy time. And this is the Scentsy flavor or Scentsy scent that I am currently melting here in my lovely Hawkeye room. Jammy time is a fresh, smells almost like a nursery type scent. It is amazing. We have posted plenty of links. We continue to share Terry's page on our personal pages. We've got the link here at the bottom of the screen. Check it out. You'll absolutely love it. And it's jammy time.
Yeah, I'll be putting an order in sometime today.
Jammy time.
Jammy time.
There we go. Hey, Jared, where you at, buddy? You were here an hour early, and now you're not here now at all. Okay. The women, let's just bring this up real quick. The women won another basketball game, a thriller in overtime. And Monica Sinano scored 36 points and Caitlin Clark 28 points. Nobody else was in double figures.
Yeah.
Those two just basically.
Caitlin struggled big time in that game.
Did you get to watch it?
Oh, yeah, I watched it.
I don't have ESPN Plus, so I couldn't watch it.
Do you have Disney Plus?
I do have Disney Plus.
Well, if you have Disney Plus, then you do have ESPN Plus.
I'll go back and see if I do or not.
Okay. You do. If you got Disney Plus, yeah, all that's packaged together.
The Drake played really well. It's tough to go on the road. They had a good crowd. Everybody wants to see the person on the mountaintop knocked off. So, it is a rivalry game, Iowa and Drake, in-state rivalry game. And the Hawkeye women, they got it together in the overtime period.
Those girls all played each other in high school.
Right. Yeah, they know each other well.
And Mackenzie Meyer played a great game. That was pretty good. She was hitting her threes. That was pretty cool.
She was an Iowa girl at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I say, don't forget too, when you're talking about Northern Iowa, Drake, schools like that, there's a lot of chips on those shoulders when they're going up against the Iowas and Iowa States of the world. They were the ones that got passed over, weren't quite good enough. So they have a lot more to prove in those games. So that's a good test for Bluter's bunch.
No, Mackenzie was at Iowa. She left on her own accord. Also, let's bring up
because she wasn't going to play anymore.
Right.
Because Iowa's starting to recruit like way too good as far as keeping those girls. But her older sister was a star on Iowa.
And her older sister is now married. Yeah.
She's married to Wieskamp.
Yep. Okay. It's one other thing we should note is that the Iowa wrestling dominated their for opening season dual meet against California Baptist. However, Cal Baptist, it's California. Okay. But anyhow, there was no Spencer Lee and no Real Woods in there, and they must be holding them out for the bigger meets.
Yeah. They don't need it against any California school.
This is also their first time moving up to the Division I level. So welcome to Division I wrestling, Cal Baptist.
Yeah. Well, the replacement for Spencer Lee, he let me down. He lost. The only Iowa wrestler to lose yesterday. I don't think any Division I Iowa wrestler should be losing to a California Baptist wrestler. I'm sorry.
He lost by decision. So, I mean, what was it good? No. But, I mean, it wasn't a major. There wasn't a fall or a tech fall.
Did he was he a freshman? Who is he?
Yes, he is.
Well, he could have been.
No, actually, no, he's a junior. He's a junior. I looked it up. He's a junior. He hadn't wrestled before. But what happened to the guy who, I can't remember his name now, the guy from Fort Dodge who was wrestling in that spot last year while Spencer Lee was off?
I don't know.
He was supposed to be the heir apparent unless there's red shirt name for sure.
That or maybe he lost the wrestle off to this kid.
That could be. Could be. Didn't think about that. Okay. All right, let's get on with let's talk about while we're really here. Wisconsin and the Bold is back in Iowa City. It rarely sees Iowa City, and we certainly love to have it there. Beating Wisconsin was a thriller. I know that I was getting kind of anxious moments on our group chat the other day, but the public doesn't know that. Guys had to calm me down. You had to walk me off the cliff the other day, so thank you for that.
Every week.
Every week. Yeah.
We're nothing if we're not passionate, Dean.
Yeah, we're very passionate. We're very. It's so hard sometimes to watch Iowa, and I keep realizing that was early in the game, 3 points, no big deal, and just like, but gosh, it's just like I know that this is the way Iowa offense and defense works, but sometimes it's just so frustrating, game after game after game, But the one thing is Jason did point this out in one of his posts yesterday, is that Iowa did hold on to the ball longer than it normally does, had less 3 and outs than they normally do, burned up some clock, and that last 5 minutes that they burned up toward the end was really key. So yes, I'm learning what complementary football is with defense, offense.
I mean, if you go off of the 146 yards was really a lot more than that, because they gained a lot and then gave it away in sacks and penalties.
True.
I mean, there was a couple penalties that would stop drives, but there was also a couple of times where they had 1st and 20 and actually got the first down.
First possession of the game.
There was good point. There was times this year. Remember, if they got a penalty, it was over.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
The drive was over. You already knew it. There's no way. So I mean, they are getting better, and there was open receivers all game, but the offensive line, they're back to being confused. So that just makes me wonder if they didn't go back to the old ways for a week. Everything's looking good. All right, you got it, coach. You got it. You don't got it.
No, it could be too that Wisconsin's D line is a little confusing. I think for these guys, from what I understand.
They have to know how to do the 3-4 by now.
Right.
They have to. Iowa State does it. I mean, then that's also, if they really don't, and you're right, that's also on the O-line coach. Then he has no clue how to tell them who to block. There was one play where both the left tackle and left guard just let the guy through. They both went different directions, and then they didn't have anybody to block, and then they looked at each other.
Whoops.
Yeah, they looked at you like, I thought you get him. No, that was your guy.
Yeah, no, Spencer took 6 sacks Saturday.
The confusion was back, and that's on coaching. That's on the O-line coach.
Right.
Well, we pointed out throughout the broadcast that they weren't doing the pre-snap motion that we had seen the previous couple weeks, mostly with the tight ends is what I'm talking about. Yeah, there was a few times we sent a receiver.
Well, they did the fly sweep motions, but they did not do the change of formation motions like they were doing.
Exactly. We weren't shifting the balance, from left to the right or from left to even and doing the things that pre-snap that were successful the last couple of weeks, the things that we were going to do the whiteboard on.
Yeah.
Could that be the reason that they were trying to confuse Wisconsin a little bit?
Well, no,
I think they were. Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Coach.
I was just going to say, it was probably going to agree with you. I think they probably didn't do it because they know Wisconsin was used to that, right? Because they were doing Wisconsin motions. After we were discussing it, I was just thinking maybe they're just outsmarting themselves by saying, well, this is Bud Meyer's motions. They've run it at Wisconsin. So Wisconsin's going to know what we're doing. That's the only thing I could think of. Because all those motions were working, obviously, the last 2 weeks, which is what we were talking about. But I just think they thought they would, not do the motions because they probably knew Wisconsin prepared for the motions, which sometimes you just outsmart yourself. It's just.
I was thinking that the reason we didn't see it against them, but we did the previous two, is the odd front, where we were all already less than sure at times who we were supposed to be blocking as it was. Now you start adding motions and moving parts before the snap and trying to get realigned and who has who and what responsibilities. I think they just thought it was too much. They were trying to go more simplified, being that the Wisconsin strategy is more complicated. But
I mean,
I don't like it.
That doesn't make. I mean, as bad as they were, it didn't work.
Right. Now, to be fair, some of that, Wisconsin's pretty good on defense, right? I mean,
I mean, they were the 23rd best defense in the country. They were a step up from Purdue.
Sure,
but there was still so many wide open receivers because Wisconsin, they just wanted to shut down the run. You could tell they were leaving receivers open. I mean, even Laporta was open a lot, but they just kept getting to Petrus. But that's why when Petrus had time, I bet he completed 90% of his passes when he had a pocket. It was because they weren't covering anybody.
Iowa was in a similar boat. I mean, I felt like we were selling out a little bit to stop the run as well. I think both team strategy was, hey, let's make the other guy's quarterback beat us. And at the end of the day, we didn't really beat them through the air, but we didn't also have a bunch of mistakes.
Right. Did you see how much man coverage Iowa played?
Quite a bit.
They played a lot of man coverage. So you're right. They were just focusing on making the quarterback beat them, if he can beat them. I mean, Cooper's pick 6 was in man coverage.
Mertz is, like he's no gem. You know what I mean? Like,
same thing this week.
I think the Wisconsin fans probably feel about Graham Mertz the way Iowa fans feel about Spencer. They have to be going. We don't have anything better. This is the best we can come up with.
And he was a 5-star player.
Right.
Right. Mertz, he only had one good pass. And I think we snuffed that out anyway later on. I can't remember if it was that the 3-point where they got the 3-point goal.
Well, he threw the 51-yard touchdown pass on what was obviously just a broken coverage.
Oh yeah. I forgot they scored a touchdown. I was thinking we held them to 3 points, but don't mean they got 10.
Yeah. That's one of those things, though. You get one of those, and they made the most of it, right? Other teams, tried, but they haven't. Ohio State was able to take advantage. But other than that, there really hasn't been a lot of secondary breakdowns. So,
no, this defense is amazing. It truly is.
And I feel comfortable in talking about the officiating a little bit since we won, and it doesn't sound like sour grapes. But man, there was some head scratchers during that game with the officiating. I mean, they had right before Cooper's big punt return. It didn't look like they had gotten the first down. It looked a solid half yard short.
Yeah. The announcers are like, "Oh, they're giving it to him."
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a first down, huh? Okay.
What about the Jack Campbell?
Could have been targeting.
Targeting, yeah. I thought that was targeting, and I was really shocked that no flag.
Right.
They're not even stopping playing and check it.
It was because they were low to the ground.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if he would have hit him upright like that, it would have been targeting. But they could have, when you see it at full speed, like as a ref, you could have been thinking, well, he probably fell down because the receiver fell down. So, like, they were just thinking the receiver was already down before Campbell leveled him. So,
yeah,
he was being tackled on the ground when so they probably thought Campbell just fell down too. So,
okay.
that was my thought, because if they would have reviewed it, it would have been targeting because Campbell was looking at the ground. He wasn't looking at what he hit. He went in like this.
On the big DeJean punt return, that could have been a roughing penalty or running into the kicker penalty. There was definitely contact with the punter.
Well, he didn't hit the plant leg.
Okay.
If you're wanting if you really want a penalty on the punter, if you hit the plant leg, that's a penalty. Right. All he did was just kind of hit him with his leg up and spun him, right?
So that's not a penalty.
That's not a penalty. If he would have hit the plant leg, that would have been a penalty. But he kind of just the punter kept his leg up, like they do, and Graves just kind of he hit it. Don't get me wrong, and spun him, right? But he just spun him around. He didn't do anything that would have hurt the kicker, which is why there's that penalty. Is because if you go after the plant leg, that's how they really get hurt.
And refs may have caught on a little bit. Punters are your best actors on the team. So,
Graves did spin him, but he didn't put him to the ground or nothing. He was like, "Ole!" He was trying his best to not hit it, but he just.
Well, the thing is you couldn't see the completion of that play because the camera went away from it as soon as you saw him hit the leg and start to spin him, but then it went and followed the ball after that, so you never saw what happened afterwards.
Well, you saw the punter go down like this a little bit. Oh. Yeah, you saw the punter spin, and then he went down like with his head between his legs like this. I don't know if he was thinking, how do I act this? Like, what do I do? Like he was trying to figure out something to do.
Now, the one thing I kind of thought, I thought our linemen were being held an awful lot, but maybe I'm wrong that's the way they actually play nowadays. But there was a lot of grabbing and holding and pulling down and what do you guys think when our defensive guys were trying to get to Mertz? I mean, did you guys see any of that, or was I blind?
I think you can find that in every game. But at the same time, I don't recall Iowa being called for any holding. Of course, you'd have to attempt to block in order to get a holding call.
Bo Stevens got a holding call, remember, on the pitch.
Okay, yeah. I mean, outside of that, I felt like the refs were kind of letting the trenches play out.
Yeah, because both sides were holding. I mean, they were. There was a couple of times where we looked like we were blocking, but number 78, the heck's his name? Anyway, he was holding on for dear life one time. Had the guy around his shoulder, and that's a holding. What's not a holding is if you hold in here. They can grab you in here with the shoulder pads and drive you, but they can't like reach out and grab around here. That's an automatic. But I think the rest kind of felt sorry. They're like, oh, wait a minute. They finally got a playoff. So we better not call holding here. No, both sides, it appeared to me that both offensive lines just struggled big time.
Which is unusual for Wisconsin.
And if the refs probably called every holding call they saw, it would have been a long game.
Right.
So how many sacks did we have on Mertz? Did we have
4
on him? 4. Okay.
They had 6 and we had 4.
All right.
We also had some, additional pressures, I thought.
Oh, yeah, we beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily get the sacks, but
yeah,
the pressures were causing interceptions and missed throws, and
he was getting just throttled. There's a few of them who got drilled right when he threw the ball, and the ball went off in the God's land, so it wasn't even worth it. It wasn't worth taking the shot.
Right. I was kind of looking at this, during the game when he was doing that kind of stuff. I thought Petrus 2.0.
Right. There was Twitter was blowing up saying that Petrus was actually better than Mertz. Yeah. I mean, Brian Ferentz was trending on Twitter. People were saying Petrus is better than Mertz. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff going on.
I love it. How quickly people turn around their feelings.
Right. There's still some people, though, that I woke up at 4:00 this morning for whatever reason. So I got on Twitter because the family's sleeping. And there was so many just crazy things. Like, people are like, even if Iowa goes undefeated, they all need to be fired, if they win out. And then I put, if they win the Big Ten championship, I don't think so, or whatever, something like that. And then they're like, that ain't going to happen. There's no way. I'm like, they can beat Michigan. I'm not going to sit here and say they can beat Ohio State, but they can beat Michigan.
They can beat Michigan.
How well they played. We saw Iowa figure it out. So I shared that video. I have that video of the score 20-7. Iowa driving down the field inside Iowa's 5-yard line, right? It was 20-7, and Iowa was looking to score to make it 20-14. That was still a game.
And this is third quarter, by the way. I mean,
so I mean, it's just, I really think if they have another chance because they figured some things out, that it's going to be a completely different game. Plus, I think Parker will do more to stop the run. Kind of like this week. I think Parker's going to do something similar this week to shut down Minnesota from running and make I can't say that kid's name, throw the ball. The Akuwamba.
Okay. Are they going to be without their what's his face, the quarterback that's been there now for 9 years?
Tanner Morgan.
As of right now, yeah. But it's not saying he won't come back for that game. But did you see how bad he's been playing too? These last few games. When he got hurt against, was it Nebraska? He was like 2 of 9 passing at that moment. So did he really get hurt, or did they like, oh, wait a minute, we better try this other guy? So
welcome in, Jared.
There's really, I don't think there's really any reason to worry about Minnesota's offense, but we'll see. I think Iowa's defensive line will take care of Mo. I really do.
We should address Jared's comment here on jump to.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Jared, I didn't know Jared was even here.
Yeah. Iowa playing jump around at the end of the game. That was masterful trolling. Absolutely masterful. I mean,
you got it right. That was trolling at its finest.
Right.
Jared's worried about Minnesota this week.
He just said he was worried about Wisconsin.
Yeah, he said now he's worried about Minnesota.
Oh, I didn't get that far. Nah, don't be, Jared. Just like Wisconsin, don't be.
I got to be on board with him. I'm worried about Minnesota too. I mean,
you've been worried every week. Everybody's been worried every week.
We've played and beat better Minnesota teams than this one in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, yeah, we did. First of all, with the Wisconsin, I wasn't that worried. I was concerned, but I did tell you guys last week that I was more concerned about Minnesota than I was Wisconsin.
Did you?
And yeah, I did. I knew we could beat Wisconsin, and I predicted it. I put it on there. I didn't give you an X score. I said it would be a low scoring game, but Iowa would come out on top. And Iowa did the under. You guys predicted that. You said the under.
Hey, I predicted the final score, 24-10.
Yeah, you did.
Right on the money.
I thought it'd be more like 17-10 or something like that, but that's fine. I'm happy with the win.
It was that pick six that got us, Dean. We weren't accounting for the Cooper DeJean pick six.
Oh, boy, did I have fun on Twitter, though. If you guys followed me on Twitter, you would have seen a lot of stuff. I had fun with my Back to the Future comments on Twitter.
Yeah.
Terry Roberts retweeted me today. So it's making me feel like he is for sure coming back next year.
I'd like to see him back this week.
He retweeted my quote saying, telling him to come back, please. Stay in Iowa State for one more year.
So he retweeted that?
Yeah. So I'm hoping
I think he's coming back to play this week against Minnesota.
I mean,
and I'm wondering how close Keegan Johnson is because he was dressing on the sidelines Saturday. Yeah.
But he's been like that a few games.
Has he?
Yeah.
Just in case he feels like he can go in.
He just wants to be a part of the team. This is what a lot of these haters and ignorant folk don't understand. When they make up lies about him wanting to transfer to Nebraska or all this other stuff, that if Brian leaves, I'm not going to say what happens after that, right? If Brian leaves, all bets are off. But if Brian stays, these guys are going to stay. And if this season alone, regardless if he does transfer, this season is killing KJ because he wants to play, right?
Right.
That's why he's in uniform.
How hard is it for a guy like KJ dealing with what he's been dealing with the hammy, right?
Right.
Now we're into the cold weather part of the season. You know, getting that thing loose, keeping it warm.
Which is what he tried. Remember the Nevada game?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that cold and rainy or something?
Yes, it was.
Storming. I don't know if it was cold. It was.
But it was all those stoppages that got him.
It was the stop and go.
It was the stop and go, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, he's been trying to get on the field, but his hamstring won't let him.
So I got a question for you. Okay, he's had several weeks where he's not using it and everything. Is a hamstring a permanent issue? Like even next year he could have problems with it, or is this something that heals itself if you don't use your leg very much?
I mean, he may have to have surgery, but it is something that will heal and it'll feel good, but it's going to be a lot weaker and a lot easier to tear.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can wake up one morning and your whole hammy be black. I don't know if you've ever seen that. If you ever done that to yourself, you pull a muscle or whatever, and it turns like the dried blood color, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it will heal, and you may have to have surgery too. It's a soft tissue thing, but it could be easier for him to pull too. He literally is going to have to make sure he's stretched like 100% before he ever plays. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to take care of it. for life. Probably even pick up basketball games in his. Later in life, he goes to the local gym, plays pickup basketball. He's going to have to make sure his hammy is loosened up. It's not like us where we can just show up, play, and then so
hurt for 3 days after. Yeah,
but we hurt for different reasons. He can pull a hammy. We just hurt because we're fat.
We're old.
Right.
We're old and fat. Okay.
Old and fat. Both.
Jared, let me reply to your comment here real quick. When have they not looked ugly in areas against Wisconsin? I mean, how far back do you have to go to find a statistically pretty game against Wisconsin? Maybe the 2004 game. I mean, it's just that was Iowa-Wisconsin football. I mean, there's a reason why these teams are, all-time series is separated by, I think, 2 games. It's just they are who they are, and they know each other inside and out.
I mean, you got to take it into perspective, Jared. They didn't look bad if you look at how you win a ball game. Yeah, the total yards were bad, but the 2 times they got in the red zone, they started in a red zone, they scored 2 touchdowns, right? From the 17 and from the 18. Well, how many times this year did they not do that? I think didn't they have 1st and goal from the 4 against Illinois? And they didn't score. They actually went backwards.
Yep.
I mean, so this is all showing improvement. That field goal drive, it only went 27 yards, but it was 11 plays. They went for it on 4th down. They got it, right? And then they were able to kick a field goal. So the total yards in Iowa's scheme is really, it's skewed. And it takes away your total yards, too, when your defense and your punt return team don't give you a full field, right? So 2 possessions, Iowa literally started in the red zone. One of those, they turned 2 plays into a touchdown from the 17. It only took them 2 plays. They scored. The other one took 5 plays, but they scored a touchdown. And they started, who knows what would have happened if they were farther back when they start to get into a groove.
Also, if they don't give up the broken play touchdown right before halftime, and that game goes into halftime 14-3, we might not have thrown the ball in the second half. We literally might have just been willing to go pound for pound and win that thing 17-3. Yeah.
I mean, that's Kirk. He loves to shut down the offense more than anything. When he knows Iowa's going to win because the defense ain't going to give anything up, he goes into shutdown mode because he doesn't want the Iowa offense to lose the game.
Yeah.
There's sometimes the only way you lose is if you throw a pick 6 or, fumble 6. Sometimes that's the only way you're going to lose because your defense is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask Wisconsin.
Right. And Kirk is about winning games. He's not going to care if he puts up 100 yards of offense or 500 yards.
He only cares about 2 numbers, wins and losses. Those are the only 2 numbers he cares about.
I mean, he's basically the opposite of Tennessee, right? Mm-hmm. Tennessee, they love what's going on in Tennessee, but their defense is one of the worst in the country, right? Yeah, they score 50 a game, but they give up 35 or whatever it is, and they have the worst passing defense, literally last place in passing defense in the country. But their offense of style puts their defense in bad situations. So,
is there any SEC teams that actually play defense?
Not really. I mean,
Georgia.
Oh yeah, duh. Georgia. Georgia is Iowa with 5-star players. Yeah, Georgia does, and Kentucky tries to, right? But the rest of them, no, they don't care about defense. I mean, this is what's funny. This style makes Iowa fans mad. They could care what. They would probably be happy if we were like Alabama losing 52-49 to Tennessee. But did you see we scored 49 points?
I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but it was at one point in the broadcast, I think Iowa had gotten the ball with maybe 5 minutes left in the game. Maybe it was little more than that.
7 minutes?
Huh?
They had it for 7 minutes left, and they took 5 minutes off.
Okay, well, maybe it was 7 minutes. And the Petros or whoever the announcer was like, I was going to go into a 4-minute offense, and they're going to, huddle and run the clock, as if we hadn't been running this the whole game. Like, what is I was going to do something different at this? No.
Yeah. Their whole game plan is 4-minute offense.
Right.
Yeah. That's one of the things I thought was kind of funny was that, these announcers don't do their homework sometimes. Sometimes they don't understand the team that they're watching and what they actually do for,
Well, yeah. Sometimes they don't have to.
Right.
By the way, did you catch it? They called Petrus Petros.
No,
at one point.
The TV announcer guy, his name was Petros.
Yeah, but when they were talking about Petrus, they called him Petros.
Oh, okay.
Which is probably a slip up because of who was he was paired with.
Gotcha.
He probably had the wrong name in his mind.
Yeah, for me, just the improvement of the offense just shows what they're doing with their chances, right?
Right.
That shows proof. Are they going to go 90 yards like they did against Purdue every game? No, right? The offensive line is going to have a brain fart. Petrus is going to throw one into God's country. Something's going to happen where they're not going to go 90 yards. This year's offense is so young. Freshmen, sophomores across the O-line. Bruce is a sophomore. Breck is a sophomore. Vines is a sophomore. So Regini's the only Laporta and Regini are the upperclassmen. But, that's 3 players that are upperclassmen if you add Petrus. That's it on the whole offense.
Right. And Rahagini, he has a chance to come back next year, too, for his COVID year. He is considering it, according to Chad Lessico.
I thought this was his COVID year.
No.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I thought it was too. He actually told Chad he was considering it. He hasn't made up his mind yet, but it's a possibility.
Well, that's a good sign because have you seen that he's already second in catches?
Mm-hmm.
Like he missed 3 games, and he's got 25 catches. So I feel
like he's back to his freshman form.
He might be, but he doesn't have Stanzi throwing it to him.
That was the other thing that we had talked about in the chat, though, with the offensive strategy for the last couple of weeks that we missed against Wisconsin too. Where were those hot routes? Where was did we just not know where the pressure was going to come from pre-snap? We couldn't figure it out, so we couldn't adjust to it.
Sorry, Petrus ain't coming back, Jared. That's not what we said. Did we say that accidentally?
No.
No, we said Uncle Rico.
I don't think any of us believe he's coming back.
No, he's not. But what did you say, Paul?
Which time?
right before he interrupted you to say that Petrus wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
No, I was asking, because we definitely saw this against Northwestern and Purdue, especially Purdue. The one Nico touchdown was on a hot route. We didn't have any of that against Wisconsin. We at times we just looked completely and totally unprepared for pressure.
Yeah. No, it just went back to the old ways, for the most part, other than running the ball out of shotgun, which I absolutely love that they're doing that now because it helps with angles for blocking. And it helps the running back see it better. So
the other thing it does is it keeps the defense honest a little bit because we were 95% pass out of shotgun.
Right. They really were. So I like that part of the game plan, but no, you're right. There was they went back to game 1 stuff. It was weird. The motions were different, were the old motions, nothing. I don't know. The middle screen was beautiful to Laporta.
That was nice.
They should have ran that to somebody else. Just keep going to Laporta there's other people that can run the ball better after catch. Laporta, I mean, he could have turned that middle screen into a huge run, but he just runs right into people. He had 3 blockers right in front of him, and then he just ran right into the guy. He got the first down, but that's all he got. I was like, what are you? But he just likes contact too much. He's just like, I'm going to run you over.
Like, what, Gavin? You talking about Gavin?
No. I'm talking about Laporta.
Oh, Laporta. Okay.
On that middle screen, it was blocked perfectly, and he just didn't use it. Yeah. He literally just ran right into the guy. But he got the first. It's like he knew where the first was, so he ran the guy over to get the first, and he was like, all right, instead of making it into a big play.
Yeah, could one of you guys, I'm curious about something, bring up the stats from that game on your phone or something? I want to see how many yards per carry each running back had, because I have a theory here.
Well, what do you want to know?
I want to know what, out of the 3 running backs.
Johnson had 22.
22 yards?
22 rushes. Didn't you say?
And how many per carry?
2.6.
That's all? That's disappointing. And Gavin and LaShawn?
Gavin was 3.2. LaShawn was 1.9.
Okay. So, honestly, when I was yelling to get the Williams out of there, I needed to say, keep LaShawn out, keep Gavin in.
Well, no, Gavin had, here. Check, this will tell you the story. Gavin had 19 yards rushing. Guess what his longest run was?
It was pretty far, pretty good run.
19 yards.
Yeah.
So his other 5 carries.
His numbers were inflated.
His other 5 carries went for 0 yards.
Right. So that was inflated. Okay.
Yeah. KJ should have probably got more carries, to be honest.
I thought so.
They kept giving it to other running backs, but they should have just kept pounding KJ.
But it didn't seem to me like Wisconsin was stopping our run like they usually do. And I just thought maybe we could have been doing more of it. But I wanted to hear what the yards per carry was to see if I was on the wrong page here.
No, they weren't. They were stuffing all the running backs at the line for the most part. KJ had a couple where he got out, he got loose. Gavin had that one. But other than that, and down in the goal line, they couldn't stop Iowa running up the middle. You see that? Mm-hmm. KJ got that touch. He actually had 2 touchdowns running up the middle, but they called the other one momentum stopped. So,
yeah, I remember that. I thought that was stupid.
Every game you watch has that. It was stopped. They were right, but for like half a second, right?
But I mean, why? Why whistle the play dead when they're obviously still out there? But anyhow,
to give Petrus another touchdown.
I guess.
Well, the funny thing, where do we get that phrase "second effort" from? It's when they don't get in the first time, but then So yeah, it was definitely a quick whistle. That can kind of go back to the officiating conversation we had earlier about some things that seemed less than great from the officiating.
There's 5 players that could possibly get drafted.
I think all 11 of the starters have a chance to be drafted,
but not this year.
Oh, okay.
How many
this year?
I think 5.
Who are they in your mind? Who do you got?
Moss, Campbell, Merriweather, but Merriweather said he might come back. Mm-hmm. Noah Shannon, and Wagner.
And Van Ness.
Van Ness ain't going unless he gets a first-round grade. That's what I heard. He's only got a 3rd and 4th round grade right now.
Okay.
But if he goes, but he wants a first-round grade before he actually leaves Iowa. Well, this year. Next year will be his senior year, right?
I think Benson can get drafted as well.
Well, I put him in the James Morris category. So, we'll see. He might. But I thought back when I was young, I thought James Morris was going to get drafted.
So did I.
I mean, I really did. He was a stud, right? But he was the only one not to get drafted. And I put Seth Benson in the same area with James Morris. He reminds me so much of James Morris. So
yeah. Well, I got this theory because it said how many players get drafted. I don't know that many will get drafted to the 5, but I bet there'll be plenty, 6 or 7, that actually get a shot.
Benson reminds me a little bit of AJ Eads.
Oh, yeah. He played in NFL for.
Yep, he played with the Colts and the Patriots.
I mean, we'll see. It just all depends on his pass coverage. James Morris's issue was his pass coverage. So, like, he could run stop with the best, but when he got didn't he try out for like the Patriots or something?
Yeah, I think he actually spent the preseason with the Patriots. I see maybe he didn't make the roster, but
so I think his issue was pass coverage, just like Abdul Hodge. Abdul Hodge's issue was pass coverage, and that's where Chad Greenway, excelled, was in pass coverage, and that's why he, I think he was an All-Pro a few years. So. Procter, that all depends on 7 bills, man. If he gets a 7-digit NIL, I don't know. I don't know if Procter stays, but no, Moss. This is Moss's COVID year.
That's what I thought. I thought Moss was in his COVID year.
Yeah, Casey, this is Moss's COVID year.
Kind of hard to keep track sometimes.
Yeah, this COVID really messes you up.
I know it. And guys, Peters could come back for his COVID year too.
He's not. We already discussed it. Jared already brought that up.
I know it. I just wanted to give Jared some hope.
You know what? Moss moving on to the NFL is okay. I mean, we're gonna have Harris, we're gonna have Terry Roberts, we're gonna have DeJean. We have TJ Hall. I mean, corner is a position where we'll be all right.
Merriweather, what?
I just said the future's bright for the defense. Those back guys, all of them.
The defense is loaded. Like they literally, this is like a Georgia defense, right? Last year they had 8 players get drafted, and they're not showing any slowing down with their guys, right? Everybody was thinking Georgia was going to have it down here because they had 8 players off their starting defense get drafted,
including the number 1 overall pick.
Right, and they just reloaded because they're awesome. Iowa is getting into that territory. Now, Merriweather might come back too. Merriweather does have a COVID year. He says he doesn't know for sure, and that will be tough on X. X will, because I think X will slide over and take Merriweather's place. But
I'm gonna say even if Merriweather comes back, you got to find a spot for X on the field, even if it's because how long can you keep him on the sidelines? Because they're not using him enough on the defense anyway.
Well, no, they are. I mean, where can you put him? You can't just say like he should play instead of Schulte when Schulte is putting in all the work, doing everything he can. Mm-hmm. There's not a spot on the defense for X. Even if he is, I mean, yeah, he's a 5-star, but he's 5-star in athletic ability. But if he comes in and gets burnt in a game where he can't get burnt because our offense is struggling, it's not a risk.
I was commenting on someone else on another Facebook page. They had made the comment about not getting X on the field. I said, who do you want to take off the number 1 defense in the country to put him in there for?
No, right.
That's a good point. It's a good point. You guys make good argument there.
I mean, you can't just say, "Oh, sorry, Schulte, this guy's a 5-star." You worked your butt off, but he deserved it. No, unless Schulte starts making mistakes, there's nothing you can do. I mean, X is doing everything else though. Right. He's on the field all over the place except for on defense. Maybe give Schulte a break, right? If I was defense is on the field too long, put X out there and let him play. But other than that, that would just be bad for recruiting. That would be bad for everything. Because then, Schulte would be like, well, hell, I was doing everything I was told, and I was doing great, and then they just took me out. So, no, unless they promised X a starting position, they shouldn't do it unless he's earned it. And he's earned his way onto the depth chart, if you guys noticed.
Right.
He is literally the backup now.
Yeah.
Hall is the backup now, too. So,
I don't know if Hall might be just attrition. Like, again, we're missing.
Oh, yeah.
We're missing Roberts. We're missing Harris.
No, you're right.
If those guys were healthy, I don't know if TJ Hall is on the two deeps. Might be.
But I'm glad he is, though. I love watching him shut Charlie down. Right. That was hilarious.
TJ Hall, when they went through both not the spring, I'm sorry, the fall camp, there was high praises for both Hall and X. Everybody was high praising them.
Oh yeah. There was one practice where X had 3 interceptions, and one of them was a one-handed miracle catch. Yeah. And another one, he got a tip. X tipped the ball and somebody else picked it off. So there was moments X dominated on the practice field, right?
Right.
But
we got a couple of questions. We should answer a couple of these questions because we've got some good ones coming up. How many first-round draft possibility? I don't think we have anybody in the first round.
Yeah, no, because Campbell's even predicted a 3rd round.
You just don't get middle linebackers drafted in the first round.
Of need, like they'll wait. Moss won't be. I mean, I don't see any of them being first round. They'll all just be drafted in the first 5 rounds. They'll all go. Yeah, none of them are going to fall below the 5th.
I would imagine Campbell goes first, and then Laporta would be our 2nd draft pick.
Well, I guess Laporta, you never know if somebody wants a tight end.
He's not a first round, though.
Well, I agree. He's not, but somebody might take him. You just never know.
His stats are better than the 2 first rounders we had go a few years ago.
It's not about stats. The NFL could care less about stats. When he goes to the combine and starts dropping all the balls, they're going to be like, I guess they probably threw it to him too much at Iowa. That's what they're going to say about Charlie when he can't get open in his route running. Same thing. They're going to be like, why the hell did he get 13 targets a game?
I think what's going to happen when Laporta shows up to the combine, I mean, and this is no offense to him, but he's not running as fast as Hawkinson or Fant or Dallas Clark. He's not a burner like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's got good speed, not elite speed. He's got decent hands, not elite hands.
He's got good route running. That's what he has.
He's a good route runner.
Yeah.
Adequate blocker. I don't know that I would, think of him as, a road grading tight end. I mean, he's a good football player, but he's not a first round pick.
All right. Casey has a question for Jason here. Jason, can you see that question?
Yeah. He comes in this year, 2023. Well, next year, I guess, however you want to say it. For me, it's this year's recruiting class because we already got 2022. But, I can't wait for Marco, Casey. Marco comes in this year. I still think Labas will probably be the starter next year. But I think Marco will push him the more he learns the playbook. If Marco is running the scout team next year, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to want everybody fired. I'm going to want them all fired. If he's
Carson May back on the scout team.
Because, that's what Iowa does is they put the freshman quarterback on the scout team so they're not really learning the playbook.
Right.
Right? And Marco's got way too good of ability way too good accuracy. Good Lord, if Marco was there this year when we had those clean pockets I did all those videos of, he would hit the receiver. Now, granted, receivers will drop him like they do for Petrus, right? But he would have hit more than what we have this year. His accuracy is unbelievable. Did you guys see the video I shared?
Yes.
Deep ball?
Yes.
I mean, just
hey.
Yeah. He does look good
in my eyes. He appears in my eyes to be better than Joey. But I don't know that he would be able to, as a freshman, take Joey out because Joey's been in the system. This is going to be his third year next year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And Joey's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. But Marco should walk on campus, show up the first practice, and go through the workout, and then be penciled in as QB2. Like he's gonna put all the other quarterbacks to shame.
Yeah, there is precedent set to have a QB2 freshman QB2 Drew Tate
and Nate Stanley.
Nate Stanley was too. I didn't realize that.
Keep in mind too, it's not as much always of knowing the Iowa offense, but also knowing how to read the different defenses and being able. I mean, there's a lot. We put a lot into the Iowa quarterback position on field responsibilities, which makes it harder for these young guys to get in there because, at other places where freshmen are coming in playing, everybody just looks to the sideline for the adjustments and the calls.
Right.
We ask the quarterbacks to make those adjustments at the line.
But the thing, right, like Marco's already being taught some of those concepts, right? So Marco's going to be ahead of schedule as far as learning the passing concepts, which is how you read a defense, levels concept, triangle concept, stuff like that, on the direction that you look at it by what play is called. Mm-hmm. So Marco is going to be a step ahead in the mental game as well to go along with his physical attributes. I mean, I got a football crush on that guy. I just can't wait. I got a quarterback crush on him. I just can't wait to see him play. He's just a stud. Watching him like always be accurate, right? Like he may make the wrong read and throw an interception. I think he's thrown 4 picks in his career in high school. He's completed 80% of his passes. But I think he has thrown 4 picks. So, he does probably read a defense. Everybody makes mistakes. But the thing with him is, and like Coach Leach says, you can't teach accuracy, like real accuracy. You could teach the fundamentals and show them how to be accurate and where they'll be accurate like a higher percentage of the time. But you can't teach somebody to be like 80% accurate, right? You can't teach like the professionals who are like 90% accurate that show off at those skills competitions. That kind of stuff you can't teach. That's just a gift that you have. You could teach 60% completion percentage, right? So, but I mean, there is no teaching 80%. And there's some drop passes. He's in high school. Somebody's dropped a few passes as well. So, Marco, I could talk about Marco for a long time, so we probably better move on.
Yeah, we probably better get into our picks and stuff because we started an hour late and I've got to jet to the paying job.
Oh, okay. Yes, Phil Parker, DC of the year. I agree, Jared.
DC of the year every year.
All right, our picks this week. One of us went 7-0. Who do you think it was?
Jason.
It was Jason.
I didn't want to be cocky, so I wasn't going to say nothing. I just looked at the score.
One of us went 3-4.
That sounds like me.
That wasn't you. It was me.
It got worse.
Paul, you're at 5-2. Good job.
Hey, 5-2.
I missed bad time. I missed on Rutgers, Illinois, Mississippi, and Texas.
7-0, bitches. 7-0.
So what?
Okay, even though I don't have the full season accumulative stats, I do have the last 3 weeks. So I'm at 13-5 for 3 weeks. Jason's at 16-2 for 3 weeks, and Paul, you're 12-6. So,
all right.
Didn't have the other 3 weeks. I wish I did, and
Paul's turning this thing around.
Yeah, it helped when I lost the 3 previous weeks.
Yeah, it did help. But
so
what were the picks this week, and who won the games? I don't even recall. Like,
okay, well, we all picked Iowa over Wisconsin.
We're all geniuses.
Two of us picked Rutgers over Michigan State. Only one of us got it right.
That must have been me.
Yeah.
That was you. 2 of you picked Bama. One of us picked Mississippi. Ole Miss. That was me. TCU and Texas. I picked Texas. You both picked TCU. Okay, and then we all picked Minnesota, and we all picked Okie State.
Okay.
Over Iowa State.
Yeah, and Iowa State had that. Did you guys see that game?
Mm-mm.
No, I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Oh, their coaches. Iowa complains about Kirk's game day coaching. That's nothing on what Iowa State is. They had that game freaking won. Their coaches are just dumb. They throw a pick. They do exactly what Iowa fans want Iowa to do, right? They were up 4 throwing the football when they were running the ball pretty well, and he throws a pick the other way, and then they were losing. Well, they did exactly what Kirk is like, no, we're going to do it this way because I don't want no damn pick 6. Right?
Right.
So anyway, yeah, Iowa State coaches suck.
Watching Iowa State play this year, it just burns my butt that we didn't win that game.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a game. That game was ours. We should have never lost it.
I mean, it just goes down to we fumbled inside the 5 again, inside the inch line. What am I saying?
Right.
I mean, this is like I said before, we could have one of those 2008 seasons when what could have been is what we're going to be saying, right? Unless we win the West and they do end up winning the Big Ten championship, which would be the ultimate slap in the face to all the Iowa fans by Kirk, right?
Right.
You doubted me? Yeah.
The only thing that this season is missing that 08 had is like a signature win, right? I mean, that 08 we had the Penn State game.
Yeah.
I don't think Wisconsin qualifies.
No.
You know, we didn't knock off Michigan at home,
Right.
Which remains to be seen that we couldn't, like you said, come up with a win in the Big Ten championship game that would just – but, oh, God, that I could see all of Hawkeye Nation just absolutely just jumping off bridges at that point. Like,
For real.
Like, oh, if we would have just had any offense against Iowa State and Illinois, we could be in the Final Four.
Yeah, for real. You know that's what's going to happen. But anyway.
Here's the problem is I think there are a lot of people rooting for Iowa to not win because they think that if they don't win, Brian Ferentz will be gone, and if they do win, he'll be back. And they don't want him back, despite the wins here. And so I think these people are foolish. He's coming back unless he leaves on his own accord. Nobody's going to fire the man. I wish people would understand that.
I think he's gone unless they win the Big Ten championship. That's right.
Again, you know, I don't care what Iowa fans want in this case. It's not Brian Ferentz's playbook. It's Kirk's playbook. Like, it does not matter. We could bring Mike Leach in to be the offensive coordinator. We're not running the air raid. We're going to run the same plays because that's how Kirk wants the offense to look.
Right.
The only difference between all the offense coordinators is Brian actually throws the ball more than any of the other ones. I mean, that's the thing. Iowa throws the ball more now. Well, not with Petrus, but they threw the ball more with Nate. Nate averaged 32 passes a game.
Yeah.
So that's the difference is Brian actually throws the ball more, whereas the other OCs didn't as much.
Well, you know what? If we would have had Keegan Johnson and Arlen Bruce and Charlie Jones and we probably would be throwing the ball more this year. But, I mean – he just, and Nico wasn't healthy for a while too. Is like, who do you throw the football to? Yeah. If you want to throw the football, who are you going to throw it to?
I wonder what Tracy's thinking. I know you got to go, Paul, but ever since we pounded Purdue, I wonder what Tracy's thinking, because he's not doing anything at Purdue. He would have been a star at Iowa because we had no.
He might have only gotten like a handful of snaps on Saturday. I watched that game pretty intently. I only saw him hit the field like very early in the game. I'm not sure how many times I saw him after that.
Right.
I didn't even see him. So
yeah.
I saw he got that carry. I think I texted you guys. He got
a carry. You said on the first play.
Yeah, he got the carry and lost 4 yards. So
unless he tweaks something or something like that, they never even,
I would love to see his stats this year compared to his stats at Iowa last year to see the comparison, because I gotta believe his Iowa stats were higher than the Purdue stats are.
Last year's weren't, but his freshman year with Nate Stanley at quarterback, he won't touch those stats.
If I was any more of a jerk, I'd get on Twitter and what was it his dad or his brother or whatever that was talking about him being a Swiss Army knife? I would love to, send him and be like, what's the Swiss Army knife doing at Purdue this week?
It was his brother. Yeah.
I thought it was him that said that.
No, it was his brother.
You got a Swiss Army knife. Yeah.
That was when his brother.
You don't even bother to use it.
Right.
That was when his brother was transferring from Indiana. So they had this plan and they were going to transfer as a family, and Purdue wouldn't take his brother. So.
His brother not any good?
He's a defensive back. I really don't know. He didn't play at Indiana. That's the only thing I do know.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know how.
All right, guys, so we should get out of here so Paul can get to work where he gets paid real money, real cash.
Right.
He has one of those
cash, homie.
real jobs.
Yeah, a couple of us don't really have a real
I'm trying
job.
to get retired like you guys. Maybe another 20 years. We'll see what happens.
I watch about 70 hours of football a week. So
that's a terrible life.
It's awful.
Terrible.
Wait a minute. We have one more question that maybe we should answer. Phil Parker, Defensive Coordinator of the Year.
We already did.
Yeah,
we said
we did?
every year. Well, I said Paul said every year.
Every year.
Right.
I'm Defensive Coordinator of the Year.
Got it. My bad. All right.
All righty. See you guys. Bye, Terry.
Yeah.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Jared. Bye, Casey.
I think Jared and Casey are gone already. Let's get out of here.